What do you think about marriage now?
I would rather die alone than live with someone who's like, ugh, my frickin' wife. I have to go home to the wife. That's another reason I was like, take your time.
Yeah.
I want you to want to be with me.
It's a great book and basically tells you the different phases of a man. The first one is the knight, the second one is the prince, and the third is the king.
If you can be patient and wait to get to the prince stage, oh my God.
Pillar number 5, sex. And this was, especially last night. Not for the reasons that you're thinking.
We didn't have sex for almost a year, I guess. I think it's beautiful that we've taken this process because it's really enabled us to reassess and to come in with new energy.
How do you initiate these kind of conversations that are so awkward? Like, where do you even begin? Here we are from Tokyo, recording this podcast in the longest honeymoon ever. I'm here with my wife now, Kenli Dulcinea. This is JJ Letnich. And we've been together for 7 years with 1 year in between apart. And we just got married in Hawaii 2 weeks ago. So this is the first episode of this podcast. And the first question will be, what did you think about marriage before? And what do you think about marriage now after that beautiful ceremony that we had in Hawaii?
I think for me, I've had a little bit of a different relationship with the idea of marriage than at least that I've seen in movies and things like that. I grew up in movies where all the girls were either always dreaming of getting married and imagining it, or having tons of pressure from their parents to get married and resisting it. And I didn't have any of that. My mom's never pressured me to get married. She herself didn't even really want to get married until she met my dad. And they got married within 10 months of meeting each other.
Wow.
And I think she met him and was like, okay, he's going to be a great father. Let's go.
Was she the one who chose
she
him?
proposed.
Really?
Yeah. She was
I
like,
can see that.
Yeah, let's do it. Because August 8th, 8/8/88 was coming up, and she was like, that's a really good date. We should get married. But overall, I guess I always grew up with these ideas of women thinking marriage was everything and pressuring the men to get married. I always was put off by that. I never liked the idea of trying to pressure someone to get married with me. I didn't actually see so much of the benefits because I grew up in a very libertarian environment. It was always kind of like, we don't need the state to get involved in something like us. And even though I grew up in the church, I also was quite agnostic. And so it was always like, I don't really believe in this church thing as well either. And I also grew up in a time where it was really looked down upon to be a stay-at-home mom, a stay-at-home wife. And then I think in a lot of ways it is now still. This idea that, it's outdated that women wanted to get married and have kids. Like, that's the old way. Like, now women, we should care about our own dreams, have our own career. Like, we don't need a man. And so I never dreamed of it. I thought it was like weird and girly and outdated to want a wedding and all those things.
So you never thought that you were gonna get married?
Not seriously, no. I remember I had some friends that had an anarchist wedding in Europe. They just created their own terms. Like, it wasn't with the church, it wasn't with the state. And they just made their own vows to each other. And I was like, okay, if I ever get married, it'll be like that. Something totally different. And so that's why it's pretty crazy now that we actually had quite a traditional wedding. And it's been a long journey to get here.
What happened in your head when you were in previous relationship when it comes to marriage? Was that like the end goal when you were in a serious relationship? Were you thinking about, okay, if this works out, we are gonna end up getting married, like having that anarcho wedding, or wasn't something important for you?
Not so much. Not really. My first partner, the only one I'd say that also counts, because the second one was like a mistake. But the first one, I remember
I'm sorry, I don't think it was a mistake. I think it was perfect.
Okay,
you learned what you have to learn from him, and he did learn what he had to learn from you.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's something that you will say.
Yeah,
Just
to anyone else, yeah. But, okay, so the first one, his parents hadn't married, but they'd been together for 39 years. And so for him, it didn't matter. And I was open. I remember him saying that one day, I think I will just give you a ring and say I want to commit, and then that's it. Like, I don't care about a ceremony or a wedding or anything. The point is when we decide between us. And I was like, okay. Like, it was weird, but I liked it in theory, and so I was down. And we never got to that point, but I guess...
Thank God.
Yeah. Thank goodness. And then the second, I don't know, definitely wasn't a mature enough relationship to really think about it seriously. Okay. So,
I see.
Yeah, so I guess I was really not necessarily dating for marriage, though I think I've always dated for partnership and mission. So I've always dated with a long-term vision. But yeah, that's the thing. I never really thought that marriage itself was necessary or important. I didn't think it was a turning point. I didn't think it was like, we're just dating. Yeah, exactly. I see a lot of stuff on social media these days that if you've been dating for 6-7 years and he hasn't proposed yet, run because he's not serious. And it could be in some situations, but I never felt that with you. I never felt like you were stalling or not serious. I felt you serious from the beginning. Like, I have the text messages from the email from 2018 where you were like, all I want to do is get married to you and have kids. And you would ask, like, every day for like 7 years, you'd be like, I want to get married. I want to marry you. I want to marry you. And so that was cute. I think maybe that's what won me over to the idea of it.
Consistency.
Yeah.
I love that you save all of those screenshots. I really do.
Yeah, they're so cute. And
so in summary.
Yeah, so in summary, I'd say, yeah, I never expected it to be that big of a deal. I didn't think I needed the state involved or church involved or that it was necessary for a relationship. I thought that it was just about us continuing to grow in things.
How about
but now oh my goodness, it has been such a game changer. I think marriage is the best thing ever.
Wow.
I know that I'm new to it, so obviously things could change, but I don't want... I want to keep, I think it's what I create it to be. I think when you do it intentionally, it can be so powerful. I'm so grateful for us and our journey because when you proposed, I think both of us didn't really think, it was kind of like, oh, it's the next step, right? But because when you proposed, you didn't have like a grand speech or anything. You were just like, marry me. And I was like, okay.
Yeah,
and
that was pathetic.
And so, like, a couple months later, I gave you the ring back because I was like, I don't actually know what marriage means to you or to me. Because I'd gone to a couple weddings before, and when I saw people just saying the typical, I'll be with you for richer, for poorer, in sickness and health, I always felt like they were just repeating these empty words. I was like, did you choose those? Have you really thought what that means? Have you sat with it? And I think a lot of people haven't. That's why there's so much divorce in the world today. And so it was really important to me that I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I really want to do it right. I want to understand it. I want it to mean something because my words are so precious to me that I don't want to say I'm going to love you forever until we're bored of each other, right? And then it just all goes out the window. And so I really wanted to understand. And also back to the libertarian thing, I never wanted to force someone to be only with me, like stuck with me. So it's been a huge journey to actually see that it's actually amazing to be stuck with me. It's good for you. It's not like a restriction on you.
It's a win.
It's a win, yes. And to see that value, to set that intention, and to really commit to each other for both of us to keep working, to always be the best versions of ourselves. And then on the other hand, to love each other and support each other and lift each other up, even in the hard times, even when it's hard to love. It's just so beautiful, that commitment. I've been able to understand commitment a little bit thanks to my health journey, like my fitness journey, and this idea of when you commit to something, it's not always pleasant. It's not always fun. But
because of all the things that you're saying no to.
Yeah, exactly. Going to the gym isn't fun. I'd rather stay in bed. I'd rather watch movies. But to be like, no, I'm going to make this commitment to my body, to my health, and I'm going to do what it takes, even if it's not fun in the short term. I've seen the power of that and how much more you can achieve and how that actually takes you to the best version of yourself. And I feel that with you all the time. And that's how I feel about marriage today. How about
Thank you.
Do you feel the same, or how do you feel about it?
I feel like you look so gorgeous. So marriage before, well, I remember this picture when I was a kid, and then the family album, and you go and see some pictures, and the most boring ones are actually the one about my parents' wedding.
Yeah?
Because you just see a bunch of adults in a room signing a piece of paper, and they're all like kind of serious. I don't know. It didn't show me anything excited or fun or powerful, right? That was the word that was really representing all of those weeks during the wedding. It was just powerful or sacred or both. And maybe I will see a few pictures of my mom in her wedding dress. She looks beautiful, and my dad with his buddies, but there was nothing sacred about those pictures. And then later on, when I started growing up and start hearing, similar opinions about marriage, like especially about this new generation, is we don't need a contract, from the government to approve our love. We don't need this approval. So either I'm just gonna go by yourself and have a small wedding because it's just about you and me. We don't even need a priest. We don't need the party. And I agree with that from the perspective that nobody needs to force me to do anything with my relationship. And I love that. But things change after a wedding. And I think changed after a wedding because of two things. One was choosing Jordan,
Our pastor.
our pastor, to marry us, because of the amazing relationship that we have with him, and how grateful I am for him on my journey to keep finding God on a daily basis. And just as a parenthesis, we're not necessarily Christians. We don't consider ourselves Christians. We love the Christian values, but more than the Christian values, we love Jordan's values that are very aligned with our values. And
yeah, because a lot of times, every time I get closer to being like, oh yeah, I'm feeling more like aligned with Christian values, then I see other examples of it, and I'm like, yeah, no, now I remember why I don't really align. I don't use that vocabulary.
Yeah. But it doesn't really matter. Really, it doesn't. It's the same with diet. If you're doing keto, if I'm doing paleo, like it doesn't matter the label, as long as you're being intentional about the food that you consume. This is the same thing. It's about how intentional I am in my relationship with God. That's all that matters. So meeting Jordan was great, and then the second powerful thing was we wanted a small wedding. Tiny, right? Because we didn't want to spend too much money on it, right?
Yeah, and it's our style to elope because we've been nomads for our whole relationship.
Right, yeah. We don't have a community in one place. We have friends all around the world, and I love that, but we knew I was going to be expensive if we wanted to go all in, and we had other plans for a house, for a business. Yeah. So we decided small wedding. But thank God, and in a way I'm grateful to your mom, because she was asking, every time we had dinner, she was like, did you invite this guy and her and your auntie there?
Have to
and
invite them.
You have to invite them. And I remember I was so tense in those moments. I was like, this is not your wedding.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful with her, because those moments of us just saying yes, and especially because after she asked that, she followed up by saying they will give you money. Like, okay, okay. So then by saying yes to this person that maybe I'm not that close, I have to invite this cousin that even though we don't hang out all the time now, I have beautiful memories with this cousin and this cousin and this and that. So the wedding went from like 15 people, 20 maybe, to 100?
It was at least 100.
Okay,
yeah.
So 100. And that was beautiful because by having our closest friend and family, people we love, respect, and admire, making this commitment in front of all of them, it meant something.
Yeah.
And plus having Jordan there, speaking the word of God like we liked it, it was like a powerful moment where I just received, I was like a spotlight. God was like pointing us with a huge lantern and say, okay, say your vows now. Like we're all hearing, so be serious about it.
Yeah.
And that helped me to be so much more intentional with my vows. I'm glad that you gave me the ring back Because to me, that was like a wake-up call of, what do you mean by this? Are you being intentional with this relationship, or are you just asking me to marry you because we've been together for 7 years, or you want kids? Because initially, I just want kids with you. I always wanted to be a father with you, and that was just one thing that I need to cross. Like, okay, wedding, check. Now we can have babies.
I'm so grateful as well that we had all the family. I just got a message from one of my aunties that came and saying, I've been with you since growing up, and now it makes me so happy to have been there and to be a part of it. And I didn't realize, because we're away from family so much.
And friends too.
Yeah. And I didn't think it was such a big deal. Once I decided, okay, Mom, like, I'm done fighting, I kind of decided, you know what? I can see how this is such a big deal for other people, like more than me. Even if I don't think it's a big deal, everyone else was getting so excited about us getting married that I was like, I mean, okay, if it really makes you happy and you want to do that, okay, sure. And there's a reason why this is a part of tradition, because it really brings family together. It brings people together. One of my biggest takeaways from the whole experience is that I don't feel alone anymore. It's not something I was aware of.
I know what you mean.
But there are a lot of times that we feel alone in this world. We're in different countries by ourselves, and we just kind of have to solve everything by ourselves. And man, we were taken care of, like, everything was taken care of for us in the wedding. Like, we entered with pure abundance. Like, we paid for the villa with huge help from my father, but then, and kind of the basics, but then after that, it was like pure surrender.
Yes.
And people just came and helped and gave us love and supported, like, from the cake to the flowers to the food, transport, like everything. People just came in, swooped, helped, supported, gave us love. And it was so weird to receive so much love, but I think it really healed something deep inside of me that I didn't even know was broken.
Yeah. And I love that you use the word surrender, because we went with this attitude. It's not that we were stressed about it, that this is not going to work out and feeling horrible about it. We had a good attitude. And I remember I keep telling you all the time, it's going to be fine. Like, you are loved. And people will show you that love in your wedding. And I always tell you that you have a lot of spiritual dharma. So use it. Ask for help. And people did help. More than I thought. It was pretty impressive.
It was amazing.
So in summary, for me, what marriage means now, it's a sacred union that it makes your vows eternal. Now, every time that it's hard to say because I haven't felt that, but I know that if I start feeling distracted in the future, let's say by other women, or if I start drifting through life, or I start falling into bad habits, or if I'm not honoring you as my wife, and I start not honoring the vows, it's way powerful to remember this moment with all our families and friends witnessing this, and the presence of God and Jordan there to really make this big, like important. So then I touched my ring, and I remember all of those emotions that were so powerful. And every single word I said to you, it means something. And I always remember my mom telling me this story about his brother, my uncle, which he was my role model when I was a kid. And now he's really struggling with life. My mom told me, your uncle could be an amazing human which could have, impacted this world in an amazing way. And I always believed in him until he broke those vows that he made to his wife. And it's just because he got a traditional wedding. I don't have any memories of them really crafting this experience to be sacred and to be intentional. Actually, I think their parents organized everything for them, which was kind of like old school. And then you just show up, sign, got married, and then keep moving forward and have a kid, right? And he fell in love with, that's what he said. I think it was just horny with this younger girl. And then he was meant to be with my aunt. That was the sacred union. And then he broke that. And it's very hard to recover from that. And I think by doing these vows so powerful, you have more chances to honor them. It's just like like a plus for you as a man, like a really good energy source that you can always come back to.
Back to my example of the discipline and commitment to your best self. It's not just for the other person to honor, it's actually for yourself to commit. Like a distraction is actually taking you away from your strongest purpose and your
100%.
best version of yourself. That's what made me okay with it being like, nope, you're my husband, was the idea of, I believe that you are capable of amazing, incredible things. And I don't think your purpose is to just sleep around with a lot of people. I think that would distract from your strength, your focus, your power. I'm doing this because genuinely I feel that together with when we both focus and we go all in, we can do amazing things.
We had one of the things that I love about, probably my favorite thing about the speech of Ty, my best man. It wasn't the 90% of things that he said about me that they were awesome. It was the 10% that he focused on you. And he said, all of those things that I just said about JJ, they don't really matter without Kenli. It's through Kenli that JJ can become this greatest version of himself. Because JJ is like the earth, strong, solid, rooted, is there to hold. But then there's nothing without the sun guiding the movement of the earth. And Kenli is JJ's son. And I love that analogy, and I agree with that 100%. I actually believe that, there's a time and place for a man to, go and explore himself. I don't necessarily agree with sleep with a lot of women, especially because now I know, thanks to my beautiful mom, she's so wise. We had a very powerful conversation. She told me something that I agree now 100%, and she said, women are magical. There are beautiful beings here, and guys don't know this, but they are sacred. They are divine, and they're here to make this world a better place. They're here to guide these men that wants to be, heroes, entrepreneurs, changing the world. Without women, guys will be lost. That's why we need to protect them. And I don't think protecting women means just to sleep with as many as you can. No. You can live and powerful experiences with women, but you can be intentional since a very young age. So even though I believe that there is a time and place for you to, explore, I think, and there is a great book recommended by Ty, my best man. It is called The Amazing Development of Men. And basically tells you the different phases of a man. And there's more than three phases I'm going to mention, but these are my three favorites because are the most important that guys listening to this podcast or watching us on YouTube can relate. Is the first one is the knight, the second one is the prince, and the third is the king. The knight is all about adventures, and I wanted to see this world, and I wanted to explore it, and I wanted to have challenges, and I just want to live life. That is awesome.
Adventures and conquering.
Adventures and conquering. And that is, let's say, between 18 to late 20s. But after that, you start wondering, okay, what do I really want for my future? What do I want to build? Sometimes the question can hit even harder, hit you like, what are you really doing with your life? What have you really achieved? And I got that hit, and it was painful, it was hard, but also it was a powerful wake-up call to start thinking as the prince, which is the next phase. And the prince is all about purpose. Okay, where am I going with my life? What is it that I'm going to be using all the skills that I've been learning with my knight phase? And what's going to be my legacy, and with whom I want to build that? That's why it's so important in the prince phase that you choose your queen correctly. A woman that can help you to achieve the best version of yourself. And you really know. And then the third phase is the king, which you already built a kingdom. And then you already have a legacy, and then you're just thinking about the next generation, which, it's a beautiful phase.
We definitely met when you were in the night stage, and it was fun. That's the thing. It is a lot of fun because it's when we adventure, we're traveling, we're just fun.
Right.
And I think that's why when we separated, that was you deciding if you were ready for the prince, or if I was the one to accompany you in that journey.
100%.
Yeah.
And that was after 5 years of relationship, right?
Yeah, 4.5. Yeah. But I understood. I didn't ever blame you. I understood that you had to seek, and that you were still in that phase. And I guess part of me really wanted you to get it out of your system, because admittedly I had been there. That with my first relationship, I had felt that desire to just, before I decide on this person, I want to know the world a bit more. I want to meet other guys. Like, I wanted to see so that I could choose with intention. And so I felt that that's the energy that you were feeling at that time. And I think it was. And I think it's important for us to not just be with someone just because they were our neighbor or they're the only person we know. Like, I actually love that you know what's out there and you still intentionally choose me.
Yeah, and I love that you accepted it.
Yeah.
You were patient, and then you just believe in me that I guess you believe that I will come back. Because when you talk about that time and everyone telling you, like, why, you know, you don't just leave this guy and keep moving with your life, even though we have decided there's no promises from the future together, and you keep saying, no, he's the one, like you knew. And I love that about women. Again, going back to the fact that women are sacred and divine, is that they know.
Yeah.
And I do believe that they are the women who choose the man. It's not the man choosing the woman. That's what we think, but it's not true. And I love that you let me go in that journey, even though it was painful. Because imagine that you were resistant, and I see a lot of women that they are going to refuse to let their man go if they know that the man is not certain about the relationship. And, you know, we got a lot of hate during that time on social media. We also got a lot of support, and I think that's the most powerful part, is that so many people really understood. And there are people that are willing to know that relationships are hard. They're not easy and perfect, and they don't just come ready on a package for you to enjoy it, right? But so many people hating this idea, and they were like, well, how can you accept him back? Or like, he didn't deserve you, he didn't appreciate you.
Date
like
cuenta, amiga.
Yeah, all of those things. And let's say you give me like an ultimatum, let's say.
Yeah.
Either you stay with me and we decided to get married or have kids, or that's it, you're gone. I have two options, right? One is marry, stay, but because of fear of losing it, and anything built upon fear is going to end up in disaster. It's never going to work out, ever.
The truth always comes out eventually.
Eventually, yeah. I will I will be forever wondering, was Kenli the one, or it was someone else? But because I have this gun on my neck, I just have to decide. And the other option will be, well, okay, goodbye. I'm just gonna take my chances, because men are always also wise, and I knew there was something that I needed to explore. So then I'm gonna go on that path, and then I will just realize that, oh shoot, she was the one, but she hates me now, and probably she got married with the wrong guy, and then had a kid, and then that's it. And I know friends that are very close to my heart that they went through that situation, and you know, until this day they told me, you know, she was the love of my life, but she wasn't. I don't know, maybe she wasn't, because then she didn't really let him go. She didn't really believe in him, so maybe that wasn't the truth.
And that's tough. I think I'm very grateful that I wasn't obsessed with the idea of marriage. I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm getting old, like I need to get married now. I didn't think that a marriage was important for me to be worth something in this world, because I think that's why a lot of women get stressed about it. And it's like, no, we need to get married now. I need you to show me that I matter to you. I'm very grateful that I didn't care about that validation. I just cared about how we felt with each other. And I had always felt really great with you, except that time right before we separated, I had felt very weak in myself, in my self-love. And I felt you not with me. And
distracted.
And I've known that the more you try to force something, the more you try to grab with desperation, the more you run away. And so I just knew you needed to be free, and I think I was more afraid of someone being with me but resenting me than dying alone, you know? I would rather die alone than live with someone who's like, ugh, my frickin' wife. Like, I have to go home to the wife. Like, that gives me chills. I hate that idea. I think that's another reason I was like, take your time.
Yeah.
I want you to want to be with me.
Yeah, so grateful you did. And to be honest with the people listening to this, I thought when I request that year of separation, and it wasn't like, let's take a year off and then come back. It was, I feel that I need to go on my own journey, and I don't want to make you wait for me or drag you with me or just, you know, have a secret life, like a double life.
Thank goodness.
I was transparent, even though it was painful. And then at that time, I thought that what I needed, it was just more sexual experiences because I felt that I didn't have enough. So I felt like maybe if I can explore that, I will have full certainty that you're the one, or maybe you're not. That's what I thought initially. But it only took me 2 months, maybe less, to realize that what I was missing, it wasn't sexual experiences. It was the lack of purpose. It was the lack of self-direction as a man. And it was hard for me to think about that direction because there was so much uncertainty. So then I, as a man, didn't feel clear about what I wanted. And then in that lack of purpose, I just connected all the things that I was feeling at the time, which of course, when you're lack of purpose, you're gonna feel distracted by every opportunity that arises. But it was a very beautiful process. And for you, I think it was so necessary because you really fall in love with yourself that year. Because before I was keep telling you how beautiful you are, smart, capable, and all of those compliments, but they were not enough for you to really believe them. You have to really learn how to love yourself. And now I don't need to tell you those things. I mean, I'm sure that they feel nice, but you know your worth. And that's only because you lost the fear of losing me and you fall in love with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I saw a reel recently that said, if she glows up after you break up, then you were the problem. And I was like, that was so not the case, because you showered me with love, like so much love, but I didn't think that I deserved it. And so that's why I was so scared of losing you, because I thought if I lose you, then I lose someone who thinks I'm amazing. Wow. And so I was like, no, you're mine, like, don't leave me. And so that was when I lost you, when I knew I had to just let go of you. I don't know, it clicked because I knew it deep down, but I hadn't let myself believe, and I'm so grateful. Every guy's different, but I think this is where I'm very proud of my wisdom in that, because I genuinely, when you told me that you wanted to explore yourself sexually, and I'm so grateful that you didn't mince words, like you are painfully authentic and honest with me, and I hate it sometimes, but I love it overall, because I think women, and maybe people in general, but we read subconsciously, like we know the truth no matter what the words that are being said, we actually know. Yeah. And I think it causes us insecurity or stress in a relationship when the words don't match the actions. And I think, but with you, it's the opposite. You always say worse things than I actually feel. So it's like you'll be like, I think we should just be friends, I think you said at one point, or something, but then the actual, what I read from you is the opposite.
Okay, thank God.
And it's so funny. I have to be like, okay, don't take his words too seriously. And I think that's what I felt with that, because in general, you said those are the things that you wanted, but I just knew that you were seeking purpose. Like that, and to be the healthiest, best version of yourself. So yeah, it was painful, and obviously there was no certainty, but I think, and by seeing how I acted, I believed in it. And let me tell you that if you can be patient and wait to get to the Prince stage, oh my God. It is the best.
Yes.
I think
it is the best.
I think it's what women dream of, is the Prince stage.
Because you have certainty, you have a man that is ready.
Consistency. It's your focus, consistency. It's like you've gone into overdrive in like wanting to take care of me, prepare for our family, get a home, build something that lasts, and like zeroed in on that. And it's just like, ooh, yes. Yes.
I love it. I love this part of the relationship. It was like the big jump to the next phase. But I want to go back to the main intention of this episode, which is why do we think that marriage now is so important? And I want to go back to Jordan and church, because even though we said that we don't consider ourselves necessarily Christians, we still chose a Christian pastor, and we still visit a Christian church every time that we go to Hawaii. We've been trying all other church around the world, but it's not the same. And I think it's really because we connected with him.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when you read a book. You don't connect with all the books.
Yeah.
You connect with some books, and there's something about the way that they write that it connects with you. So we found our guy in this church, and that's why we go there. We just love it. So my question will be, what is your relationship with church? What does church mean to you? You mentioned that when you were a kid, you were brought to church by your mom, but you and your dad were brought to church by your mom.
Yeah.
But now
there's no arguing with my mom. She says we're going to church, we're going to church.
I think by this point, people already figured out that she's Chinese.
Yeah.
But what makes you go to church on your own now?
It's been a process, for sure. Same with the marriage thing. I was very against the church and organized religion, and I'm still not a fan of the system, like you said. We like Jordan, and I think there is a lot of truth in a lot of the teachings of Jesus. I think throughout history, I think the human experience is trying to understand what the purpose of life is and how to live life the right way and why are we here and God and everything. And I think everyone's doing our best to try to understand and interpret. And so that's how I view the Bible, as one of these attempts. Like I think with Buddhism and the Quran and everything, that these are all human attempts. And so there's a lot of truth in them with a layer of human flaws, jealousy, fear, tribal warfare, and things on top of it. I'm sure a lot of Christians will have issues with me saying this, but I do try to connect with what makes sense to me. And that matches with even my own silence, because I do feel that meditation and silence and letting go of everything is where we can really unlock the true wisdom, the truth.
The kingdom of God is within.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think with Jordan, I feel most aligned with his interpretations. He has a very intellectual background. He has a PhD in political science, I think. And so he comes at things with that kind of rational, logical approach that suits me. And I love his humor. He has like the most dry, sarcastic humor. And I just love it. I was very resistant to things that you couldn't logically explain for a long time. Like the idea of faith, I could not understand it. And spirituality and all this stuff. But then there was a turning point after the second relationship that wasn't a very good one. My mom actually had come to visit me, and she saw how bad things were, and she helped me realize, like, wake up to how bad the situation was and get out. So yeah, I was pretty broken. And she said, please come to church with me. She always asks me, but I was very resistant. But this time I was just kind of like, okay, I'll go, whatever. And I remember the feeling when I walked into this church and just this wave of love hit me, I guess. A wave of something, of this Holy Spirit maybe. And I just started crying so hard and just bawling. Like the people in the multiple rows were like reaching like to give me Kleenex and everything because I was crying, like handfuls of Kleenex. It was horrible. And I couldn't explain it. It wasn't like anything the pastor said, but it just was
people
so
singing
powerful.
when you came in?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. My mom loves the singing, so she always chooses churches that have a lot of singing. And the crazy thing is that's happened to me at least 2 times more. when
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been disconnected from the church for a long time, and then I come in and then just cannot stop crying. Cannot stop crying. And you have also been a huge part of me being more open to things, because when we first started dating, I remember us talking at one point, and you said you consider yourself spiritual. And I remember the first thing I was like, this goddamn hippie, like, because you were really into yoga and everything, and it's like, why? I like him, but I don't know if I can deal with this. but you stopped me, and you've been so great at helping me question
Your programming.
my programming. And yeah, that's the funny thing. I thought I was being unique and different, but it was still programming. And you're like, why did you have that reaction? Like, tell me, what do you think being spiritual means? And I remember having to take a step back, and then when you shared what it meant to you, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can align with that. And I had to realize that I shouldn't react so quickly to different labels and different words. I need to actually just understand what it means to you. What's your journey? And then since that, you've opened me to meditation and to yoga, like all these things that I was like, ugh, woo-woo. And then when you really open into it, you start to see it everywhere. You can't help but feel faith in the universe. And the book, The Surrender Experiment, also helped me really understand faith finally. And so that's why I'm not only aligned with like the Christian values. I think there's a lot of value in it, but I actually learned faith from the Surrender Experiment and even economics because of that's a whole different thing, but from our economic theory of the Austrian economics school of thought, it's surrender in its own way. It's believing in the invisible hand, believing that the market corrects itself. And I think all of that has combined for me in these different ways throughout life to bring me to this place. And so I'm open to different ways that help me feed my faith, but it's not about following every word in the Bible just because this is said. And
I think about my brother when you mentioned the Bible and just following the word. I love the relationship that he has with God and the Bible. And for him, what is in the Bible is law, and then he just follows that. And then he makes beautiful things happen. And I love that about him. But that's him.
Yeah.
And then he decides to follow the word of God. I don't know if blindly, but he doesn't question.
Yeah.
And I respect that, but I am someone who questions always, and this is why I love my pastor, Jordan, and your dad, and everyone who is open to talk about life without wanting to be right, just explore. But Jordan told me, don't feel bad for questioning everything, JJ, because I was sad at one point. I show up and say, I'm sad. I'm tired of being questioning everything. I'm tired of having doubts. And he said, that's what I like about you, JJ, that you still show up, you still come here with your question, because that tells me that you're looking for truth. And that's where it hit me. It's like, that's it. That is actually the most important thing about the relationship with God. It's like, as long as you keep finding your truth, you're going to find him or it or whatever, but you're going to find it. So when my brother tells me, no, but the Bible said this, and you shouldn't be questioning this, and he told me like, one day you will be, fully aligned, and you have so much potential, but you're not there yet. And I don't like that, because it's not respecting my relationship with God. It's putting his relationship with God above everything. And I think that's a lot of people with different religious labels do, is that they put that as the one truth. And if you're not connected with that, then you're like kind of out of the party of God. So I love respecting other people's relationship with God, and no matter the tag, but I want people to respect my relationship with God. And Jordan really does that.
Yeah, I think it's going back to our whole relationship thing and the separation. I think for both of us, we really value freedom and the seeking, the process of it. Yeah, like you said, it wasn't just you're either married to me or you're out. It was like, I respect that you want to grow and you want to discover yourself so that you can have the best relationship. And I think same with religion or with faith and God. That's what I love. You're not asking questions to sound smart or to put put people down or insult their religion or anything. No, you genuinely want to seek and understand. I believe that the truth will always come out. Like, I believe just as you can't force someone to love you, you can't force someone to have faith, you can't force these things. You need to find it for yourself. And when you do it for yourself, it's stronger than anything else.
Yes, exactly. It's indestructible.
Because you've chosen it, you know why, you know the alternatives, and it's like, no, I get it. This is what I believe now.
Yeah, I love that. I think when I marry your love, I marry with God at the same time. That was his absolute presence there.
Aw, I like that. I've really felt your faith so strongly ever since, especially. Yeah, it's been super powerful.
Yeah. So next question, because we didn't think about having a wedding counseling at all.
Yeah.
But then it was Jordan who suggested, and he said, guys, if you're going to get married, I would love to give you counseling before that. This is not something that we were looking for, but now if I have a friend that's going to get married, I will tell him, dude, find your guy and have a little counseling, because it's what's going to make your vows more powerful. So I want to talk about that, why we decided to go with this, and what did you get from the counseling? Like, what would you advise the counseling to a deeper friend?
Yeah, and that's so key. I think, like we said, people just get married, they go sign the paper, but we need to take time to actually connect with what this means and what it is. I think we've had conversations with ourselves, but having his guidance was amazing. So grateful for that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I just want to say that it is like a spiritual mentor. The same way that before you go and start a business, you want to have a mentor to help you to craft, an awesome business plan.
Yeah.
And this is kind of similar. It's like a spiritual mentor to help you to craft a successful marriage.
Yeah, you imagine if you only could do one business.
Yeah. Yeah.
You would want to take a little more time to have guidance. So many people just get married because it's what you're supposed to do, and it's the next step. I'm so grateful that we've taken our time. We've taken the 7 years. I know a lot of people think that's too long before you get married, but I think I'm so grateful we took our time and did it. So what was your question about Jordan again?
The counseling. Why would you recommend a good friend going through a counseling?
Yeah, I mean, anything. If you're going to do it with intention. So that's the main thing. I really wanted this to last. I wanted it to mean something. And even then, it felt way too fast. I wish I could go back and take more counseling, actually, and like, I don't know, have a bigger ceremony, like more vows, more magic or something, because it was so great. Everything's perfect.
We're going to do it again.
But yeah, because I remember when we were preparing the villa, the party, the events, activities, and your mom was like, "And what about the ceremony? like the important part?" And we're like, "Oh wow, thank you for bringing that back." But it wasn't on our mind really.
It was not at all. You're right. Tan linda.
Yeah, she knows. Ella sabe.
She knows.
And so it was really great. So in this counseling, it was short. We only had 3 sessions. But they were long, and they covered the 5 main pillars
of marriage,
do you want
which
to share
is
about them?
Love, family, faith, money, and sex.
Yeah.
Those are the 5 pillars of marriage. And money and sex are the one that breaks couples the most. So we can touch on that too. Well, let's go with pillar number 1, which is love. The exercise that he made us to do is, why are you willing to die for this person? And I love what you said yesterday when we were talking about this, that love begins when it's actually hard.
Yeah.
When people get married, or like people start getting together first, is because they like each other. We have things in common. We both like to travel. We both like to, drink some Latin. Yeah. But then after all of that is gone, and then you mentioned that when it's hard to love, that's where the real marriage begins, or at least the responsibility of marriage begins.
Yeah. I think I learned to love you the most in the year apart, for example. Like learning to love that it was your own path, like it's what you needed to do. And that was obviously when I probably liked you the least, because you weren't taking care of me, complimenting me, or taking me on dates or anything. You were choosing your own path. But I think that's when I was able to show and feel genuine love for you, that this is what you needed and this was your path, and that I supported you in doing that. And at the same time learning to love myself and what I wanted. But yeah, that's when love kicked in, for sure.
The second one is family, which is honoring your family. And I love this because for so many years I was constantly judging my parents for not being, the best version of themselves. And of course, if you love them, you want to see them, doing some exercise and eating healthier and maybe traveling some more, or, starting a business, and I will help you with that. When you see that they're not living to their fullest potential, then you get upset and you start judging. And one of the beautiful things about this second pillar about families, honoring them, which is be grateful for everything that they are and accept your parents as they are, because it's what they chosen to be for their own, and there's nothing you can do about that. But you can be grateful for everything that they've been giving you, and they've been giving me so much. Like, they made me believe that I'm a special man that can change this world. And that's the greatest gift that a son can receive.
Likewise, I wanted to get away from Hawaii, but it's been a beautiful journey to connect more with my mom in particular. And the more I do, the more I see how special they are and how grateful I am for the values they gave me. And I'm very excited for this next phase, as when we have kids, to have them closer and to involve them even more in our lives than before. I think I'm glad that we've been both working on that relationship, so we don't have to start now.
Yeah, it really feels different. When you said at the beginning that you always felt alone, I knew what you meant. It's just me and you against the world. And now it feels like me and you plus our family, plus our friend, Yeah,
and we're unstoppable now.
We do. I do feel that way, and it's amazing. The third one is faith, and this one is one of the most important. Can you say that? I love how you explain this point.
The way he said it is that in a relationship, there's always going to be one person who is stronger in their faith than the other. But the unfortunate thing, or the way it is in a relationship, is that we fall down to the lowest common denominator. Whoever has the lowest faith, we fall down to them. And you can see this in a lot of things, like even eating habits. Sometimes there are cases where one manages to be a lot healthier, but it's more common that you fall down to the other person's level of effort.
Because it's easier to go down than go up.
Yeah, the same, even more important, is with faith. And he asked us to think about what life looks like when it's based in fear versus based on faith. And I love that, because as soon as he asked that question, I could see it immediately, because we've definitely gone through this. When we look back on the worst times, the hardest times, when we make mistakes, it's always because we've been in a place of fear. Like, always, without exception.
Yeah.
And so we've been working on trying to get into faith, but it's kind of hard. It's especially hard for me because I'm a chronic worrier, doubter. I think about all the things that could go wrong. And you generally have had stronger faith, but sometimes I think I don't trust it, and I bring you down with me. And so I think that really reminded me of, okay, when I see your faith strong, I need to try to reach that, rather than be like, no, you're being too optimistic. I need to bring you down to my level.
Be realistic.
Yeah, be realistic, like come down, like, but see all the problems, like realizing that we as a team need to be working together to be building our faith. Like, that's one of the biggest things.
I love it.
For us.
I love how you explain that. Pillar number 4 is money. Do you remember what he said about that one?
The main thing was not to let money control us, not to be living just chasing money. He was like, there are people from our church that they loved Hawaii, they loved our church, they love our community, but they got a job, they got a promotion, and so they took a job in another place. Why? Just because of the paycheck. So basically they're letting the paycheck determine their lives. And you would see these people, they're probably normal people, they're not like money hungry, but yeah, a lot of times we just we let money determine our lives. And I think we feel that a lot too. We always go through periods where we're like, oh, we're going to focus on our mission and do what's right. And then we're like, oh, shoot, we don't have money. And we're like, okay, we need to do something. So it was a nice reminder to just really lean into faith and to choose our mission and God's design for us, our dharma, whatever you want to call it. But first.
Yeah, follow that. I love that he said, don't be rich, don't be poor, but don't be boring.
Do something interesting with life.
With your life. And I love that.
Do you.
Yeah. I think nobody wants to be poor, but it's the attitude. And I think if you start falling into not having money, it's because you're letting the doubts and fear ruling your life too much, which you always have a way out. You start believing, you start having faith, you start just changing your mindset for you to become more positive, and then you start attracting that. And slowly, you're going to start having an interesting life. So don't let the paycheck control your life. And pillar number 5, sex. And this was, especially last night. Not for the reasons that you're thinking, but we did have an interesting moment in the lab. And the reason why I call it the lab is because we were talking about that this pillar, sex, is a beautiful divine atmosphere where you can in a way have a scanner of the other person's soul, and everything that is going through their life, you can see that in that intimacy. So
you can't lie.
You cannot
lie.
Like
the subconscious is so strong in that.
Everything about it will be manifested. You know, the way you look, the way you breathe, the way you touch, the way you're being touched.
And the kiss, like you
everything.
Feel it.
And the more conscious you are about yourself and your partner, the more clear it becomes. So it could be challenging, but it's also beautiful. And I love that we had that moment last night when something huge was revealed. And I'm glad that I didn't take it personal, that I wasn't worried. I was just curious. And I was like, okay. I made a little joke like, okay, what do you think, Doc, about this situation in this lab? Because now we're looking at it with a microscope, what's going on within you. And then having that space to talk about it, I think it's going to bring something positive no matter what. But you have that intimate space to be safe. And that's one of the things that I love about this pillar is that you need to talk about sex, your sex life. And that's what Jordan said. No matter what is it like?
He was like, in a year's time, I'm going to follow up with you. I have people who come into the congregation and I'm like, are you talking about sex? And they're like, yes.
I'm going to bring you to a stage.
He's like, I'm going to put you on stage and make you answer in front of everyone. And they're like, okay, no, we're talking about sex. Like, make you do it. So it's, because, it's such an important thing. And I think it is the most touchy one, I think. As he said, if there's problems in a relationship, it's almost always stems from the sex. And not that sex is the most important, but I think it's just because it's where you're completely vulnerable and honest. Like, because you can't lie.
I do have a question because as we talk about this, 2 people come to my mind. And I know that if they were here listening to this podcast, they will be asking us, okay, I love how that sounds, but how the hell am I going to talk to my partner about this? Like, how do you initiate these kind of conversations that are so awkward? Like, where do you even begin? Why talking about it, right? How would you approach this topic?
So 2 things I'd say for that. The first is actually that's why this counseling was great. Because I think the fact that we had a third party say this about how important it is as a conversation, it's given us language that we've never had before. I think we've worked on this, but now, last night was so different. I really felt that we had a space to talk more because we had this language, we had this understanding that this is what we're here for. So I'm so grateful for that. And the other is, it's hard as hell. It's like the hardest thing you can do, but you just have to do it.
So it requires both. Because I know that this person in my mind will say, well, I want to talk about it. I'm even willing to go to counseling or therapy. But if I bring it up to my partner, he or she is going to be like, no, I don't want to talk about that with a stranger. Or like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
So sadly, I can see that you need the two people really wanted this, and then somebody, if some of them don't want to, like there's nothing you can really do about it.
It's
That's a real red flag. Like I freaking hate the comment red flag. If he does this, red flag. Like métete la red flag por. Pero el red flag here, I think that's a clear one. Like if your partner doesn't want to go into intimacy with you verbally, so then it can manifest physically and then spiritually. It's a red flag because you know, you don't want to work on the core of your relationship.
Yeah, but I guess same with my reaction to the idea of red flags too is it's not like bringing it up once and then they're like, no, I don't want to talk about it. And you're like, okay, cool. Like
that's the hard work.
It's the hard work, and I think because it is tough, it is hard, but I think you can plant seeds. You can like read Mating in Captivity was a fantastic book about this. That really was impactful for me. And making your partner feel safe. Understand, why do they feel so uncomfortable about it? What is it? And really, I guess, insisting. Like, this is really important to me.
I see this like DJing.
DJing.
Like you need to read the room, right? You're not just gonna go and start with a hard song. You start slowly and then you see people's reaction and then you go hard. And I would say that even though women maybe are the one who are more famously known about intimacy and being the goddess of these spaces, I think the man is the one who has to lead and have the intention of, okay, I want to create a safe environment for my partner. Right. So it's not about sitting down and talk about, okay, let's talk about our sexual life.
Yeah, like something's wrong. I think that's a problem, that if it makes you feel like you're doing something wrong, it feels like an attack. Rather than, I want to work on this, like I want to please you more. How can I serve you? Imagine how different that would be. Because I feel
that's still too straightforward, I will say, because in the past, I remember you mentioning something like this to me, and I felt proud. Like, no, I'm fine. Like, you're doing great. Like, you don't need to give me anything else. Because in a way, I feel like the pressure, like maybe I need to tell her what I want, but I have no idea why maybe our sexual life is not as passionate as before. So then you still feel something connected with pressure.
I see. I mean, the main thing is really, if you have a really, really strong goal, and then you do whatever it takes to get there. So it's like, if you have a goal that you want to have a fantastic strength in the relationship like that, and you will try being bold, try being really subtle, but just keep trying in different ways, learning, making sure they feel safe and that you're not attacking them and saying that you're doing something wrong with sex. Like, how can we work on this together? I love that. And recognizing, I mean, this is so delicate. It is so delicate, sex, because I think it goes to our deepest traumas and self-worth and everything. I remember a lot of times in the early days of our relationship, like, if you didn't respond the way that I was hoping that you would, it would trigger so much fear.
Yeah, so many times that I remember you crying afterwards, and I had no idea why.
And so, it's been a lot of work for myself to work on that. It's not easy.
I remember that for me, really what made the whole thing more comfortable is that I wanted it. I think that you always wanted it to talk about this, but me, I was so proud that I was like, no, it's fine. Actually, I'm focused on work. Like, I don't need that distraction. Like, this is fine. I don't think that we should have on fire all day, every day, like before. So let's just keep moving forward. But what happened lately is that I made a conscious decision to work on this. Like, I want to work on my sex life with my wife. And then the answers start, popping.
Well, if you don't mind me sharing, but actually, when I gave the ring back, I asked not to have sex until the marriage. And so we've taken a good chunk of time off, and I think that's helped us come back. We didn't have sex for almost a year, I guess. Wow. And then having these conversations with Jordan before coming back to it, and then having the sacred union. I think it's beautiful that we've taken this process because it's really enabled us to reassess and to come in with new energy. Because actually that's a big thing in relationships, especially for a long time. Stuff can build up over years that are not spoken and then kind of damage the relationship. And so
and we're also growing and changing all the time. Like the woman that you are now, it was very different from the woman that you were last week. And I love that last night, I remember what I told you at the end? I said, wow, we have so much to keep learning from each other. And it's because I felt that there's an entire universe within you, even if I feel like I know you like better than anybody in this world. After 7 years together, when I said that, it felt so right. Like, damn, it's a whole journey. So again, a full dose of humility again, because I thought that, I know everything about you, and then you do everything about me. So it was powerful. I love it.
Yeah. So I don't know what I would suggest for other couples. I think for us, what I would want to do to make sure that we keep having these conversations is, like, our intention is to get remarried or renew our vows every 7 years.
Yay.
And I think that gives space for that intention, and space for those conversations, space for that renewal of the team alliance. And I think, so yeah, I'm so grateful for this wedding. I think that the space that we're in our intimate life now is way better than ever, actually, because it's coming in with that sacred, unified
energy.
I
love it. Well, I think I feel very satisfied with what we share already.
So much.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So next episode is going to be powerful. I don't know what it's going to be about, but I just know.
But I love this. I have to say, I am just so happy that we're finally doing this. I've been seeking different ways to create content and to be myself, and I think nothing beats just talking to you. And I'm just so grateful because, this is me.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy to be doing this with you.
I love it. You look radiant. All right. So see you in the next episode. Bye.